I think if we focus on things like the tissue bank scenario that your team has worked on, that's a very complex environment. You have, to your point, there's a potentially, in most cases, there's some type of time element that they have to make decisions on very quickly. You're talking about a very sensitive arena, that in the sense of there is a recovery of individual biomedical materials. At the same time, there's a family on the other end of that that's gone through a terrible tragedy, and there's a sensitivity to how do they to deal with that, which is a very different element than maybe what we talk about from the operational side. But also too, that there's a level of complexity that if you compare that to blood plasma complexity, where they're looking at, when they interview a patient, they're maybe looking at their health condition, maybe medications they may be on. In this case, you're looking at hundreds of pages of documentation that are coming potentially from any donor, and that how do you then match quality characteristics against those donors to potential recipients of those materials, and how does that line up? And there's a lot of complexity in that, as your team is well aware, and where there's hundreds of characteristics and quality attributes that potentially could impact where and how and who would be an appropriate recipient of that material. And so, and then there's a whole other set of regulatory requirements relative to that. So I think as you start to think about those common themes, though, is where AI is playing a really important role is helping reduce all of that complexity. Whether that be an influx of massive numbers of hundreds and hundreds of pages of documentation, hundreds and hundreds of pages of regulations, and so forth. It's able to kind of digest all of that complexity, be able to put that into a format and a framework that allows whether that be a quality person, whether that be a medical person, or that be an operational person, to be able to understand how they adjust that data, apply that data in their role, and simplify that. Now, to your point earlier, we still want to have a human in the loop to oversee that and make that final sign off and push that final button. We want to make sure that's still in place. But at the same time, we're using the AI as a very, very powerful tool of organizing, structuring and formatting a lot of that data, and in many rare cases, analyzing that data to present that human with information that allows them to make a decision in a very, much faster, much more effective, and much more accurate, format or kind of ability than what they had before.